Hi everyone, Sandra Duran Wilson here, and welcome to this week's Mixed Media Soul Sparks. Today I want to share with you some really great tips for using light molding paste. Some of these you might not have discovered yet. And the first one, I like to use this paste is for a kind of a veiling or a ghosting. If I wanted to cover up an area, let me just get my knife here. So like this is one of my panels that just kind of everything gets thrown onto it. So there's a lot of texture, there's crackle, there's gold leaf, there's all kinds of things going on. Let's say I wanted to push an area back. Now if I just put white paint onto it, I guess I could do that, but then it's just going to look like white paint on top of it. Here, I can take my knife and I can put the paste on. Some areas I can put it on thicker, some I can put it on thinner. And as some of the previous videos, you saw how when this dries, it can become more translucent. Now this is the light molding paste, not the regular. There's a difference, and the reason they kind of came up with light molding paste was that when artists were working on stretched canvas and they were putting on thick layers of molding paste, it was very heavy, and over time it would literally pull the canvas off of the stretcher bars. So if you hold a bottle or a jar of the light molding paste and the regular molding paste, there's about at least 2 to 3 times heavier in the regular molding paste. So they came up with the light molding paste to take care of that issue. But it's like they added a lot of air into it. It kind of whipped it up and it makes it very absorbent. But you see, as I build this up with my knife, I can create a much different effect than if I just put white paint. Now if you wanted to add super white, you could add white paint to this. But this is already a pretty bright white. And you can easily take some off, put it back on. So I'm just going to leave that there. And I'll show you on a piece that is dry. And I'll come back to this piece in a moment. So here's a piece I just put it on this white paper, and I just want to show you the absorbency of this. So let me just take this. This is a phthalo turquoise. And here's the trick when you want to paint on this. If you take the paint and you put a thick layer on, you're not really going to get the beautiful nuances of this texture. So you want to get your brush really wet. And you can work with different thicknesses here. There we go. I'm going to let it sit for a moment, but I can come back in here and what happens when I start to take some of it off. I start to see the texture that's under the paint. So I necessarily wouldn't take so much off, but I don't want to put a thick paint on there either. If I put it on really thick and dark, it kind of takes away that subtlety. Here's another thing you can do is just take it and spray it with some water and let it move on its own. And that's how I like to work with it, rather than a thick layer of paint. I'd let this dry. I can come back in with a different color and start to maybe work into some of the ridges, the texture of the paint. All right, let me set this aside. One of my favorite things to do with light molding paste is to use it as a mixing white. So I'm going to put some light molding paste out. Well, I don't need that much. And I'm going to use the light molding paste as my white. And I'm going to compare it to a white paint. Here's the titanium white by Golden. And I'm going to show you the differences. Now this works especially well with modern colors. And modern colors are the colors that sound like they came from the lab. Phthalo and quinacridone. The earthy colors, like sienna, sierras, ochres, they sound like they came from the earth, and they did. They're already kind of a chalky color, whereas the lab colors are vibrant. That's why they call them the modern colors. They really pop. So here is quinacridone red and titanium white. You mix the two. Do you see how chalky it gets? It almost turns it like a pink. Now, I'll put the light molding paste and the quinacridone. It doesn't make it chalky. It lightens it, but it doesn't give it that same chalkiness. I could even take a little there. Now, if I have just a tiny bit, it makes it pink also, but it doesn't have that same white chalkiness to it. That is one of the best tricks of using a light molding paste. Let's just look at it with the turquoise and white. You do, you get a nice color. It's more of a teal color. Like that. And here it is with the light molding paste. Still really dark, huh? But it's lighter. This is what, on paper, it looks like. It's very dark. Remember that on canvas or on panel, this is going to look different because the paint is going directly into the paper. So the light molding paste is also a nice viscosity for working with stencils. I'm going to come back to that painting. Let's get our let's see, this is the one I did. We're starting to get some nice gradations here. I'm going to try wiping this off again, and we can see what a nice subtle color you can get. Now, if I had a glossy surface and I tried to do this, I'd wipe off all of the paint. I can come back in, you see how much different it is when it's thick like this. Doesn't give me that same feeling. So just build up your layers. Let's just show you with the, I'll just do it on here. I could just take straight molding paste. Now this surface is somewhat textured. but the paste is a nice consistency to where it's not going to slip underneath the stencil. And I like to do what I call kind of a hit or miss stencil, meaning I'm not trying to fill it in perfectly. But the paste is really great for going over a textured area with a stencil. Again, you want to clean off your stencil right away. This one's so messy I can't even tell where it needs to be cleaned off, so I'm not going to worry about it. So just to review, we use the light molding paste to veil an area, to push it back. We can use it as a mixing white, and we can use it through a stencil over a textured surface. So look for some notes to expand on this lesson and how to take these ideas and put them into your paintings. Thanks for joining me this week, and I'll see you next week. Join the Creative Awakening community on Facebook, where you'll be able to post your art, connect with other creatives around the world, and ask questions. Use the hashtag MixedMediaSoulSparks when posting your work on social media. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week.